Five Mac and Mac duo. We are joined by our bud from the Delco Times, Bob Grotz, who probably has been more realistic, not over the moon, different ways to state it about the Eagles this year than anybody else we've had on. You're not going, I told you so on us today, are you, Bob Grotz?
No, I mean, the positive to look for out of that Super Bowl was Jalen Hurts playing at the top of his game in the biggest game. And I mean, that makes it not successful, but that makes it a heck of a step. And he gave him a chance to win all year. So and basically when it came down to it, they needed a little more from him because the defense just couldn't get a stop in that second half. And that's kind of the way they were built, too. The offense had to keep the defense off the field so they could rush the passer when they did get on the field. They couldn't stop the run all year. And Andy Reid exploited that. Andy Reid, his game plan, I mean, it was like he was holding the good game plan for the second half. He just took them apart. And that hurt, or that 2-minute offense down the home stretch. He called it church mode, where they take a knee, and then that was genius. I mean,
yeah, it was. Yeah.
And how many times did he get ripped in Philly for not using his timeouts correctly?
Yes, time management.
Or why did you let
maybe that was the penalty for all the criticism of one of the greatest coaches of all time. Maybe that was the football god saying, We're gonna screw you with Andy's game management.
Yeah, no, it was more than that, though. I mean, it shows you. I mean, he's one of two coaches with double-digit playoff wins with two different.
Oh,
teams.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Andy Reid's one of the best coaches of all time.
He's been in 3. That was his 3rd Super Bowl in the last 4 years.
Yes,
and he's got a great quarterback, but it's more than that. I mean, they traded Tyreek Hill, and they still got back there and they won it. I mean. So, but
no offense, I even the simple stuff of Jerick McKinnon being coached to understand the game situation, not walking into the end zone, just taking the knee, and essentially running out the Eagles season. We've seen Miles make that mistake time and time again,
running out of bounds.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean.
By the way, I don't think he's coming back. I know I'm getting ahead of this, but yeah. I mean, this just in, but Andy Reid said that they practiced their church mode.
Yeah,
I mean, they actually had an awareness, in the Super Bowl. I mean, you're full of adrenaline. You take a knee. Oh God.
Yeah,
that's probably. So let's go glass half full. How much do the Eagles, if they can get back on the same type of a season next year, it's going to be very difficult, but they're a playoff team and maybe a divisional winner. They finally put that can't win the NFC East 2 years in a row thing to bed. How much do they benefit from the experience they had, certainly in the postseason, and or if they get back to a Super Bowl? How much will this year's loss, having been there, help them in future years that they can get there again?
Well, it'll help, but they're going to lose a lot of the guys. I mean, they got a lot of free agents, and if Kelsey leaves, it's going to be tough. And during the season, I thought, man, this guy, again, he's having too much fun to walk away, but he's got 3. Well, he's about to have a 3rd daughter. So,
yeah.
I mean, he's got a lot of family stuff going on, and you remember him talking about that away from everybody, John? When possible retirement. There's a lot more that goes into it. I have a feeling that he's leaning towards retiring. Is Cam Jurgens ready? I don't know, but I think he's good. I think they got a good one in Cam Jurgens.
Which, by the way, this will absolutely annoy Eagle fans. How many guys get to retire because they got 3 kids at age 34?
Yeah. Well, he's older than that. I think he's 35.
35.
Yeah. 35. Oh, so my bad. I shortchanged him a year.
I think you get to be. Yeah.
Okay. Jason Kelsey probably likes that you shortchanged him.
Right. He looked like a 34-year-old out there to me this year. Shoot, he looked like a 29-year-old. But and I'm not saying Jason's just gonna. I think he's got a future in broadcasting if that's what he wants. He's not going to retire for the rest of his life. He's going to retire from playing. I think it's much more he doesn't want to put his body through what he has to put his body through every single year to play, rather than, oh, I got to spend more time with the kids. I think he's going to still be a working guy getting out every single day. He just won't be going to the NovaCare complex.
Yeah, but any way you look at it, if he leaves, that's a big loss.
Oh yeah,
he's kind of he's an icon in that locker room. So people look at him and they look at his example, and he's even if he's not practicing that day, he's always there early and he's always helping people out. Yep. He's your ultimate professional.
Yep, and it's not just Cam Jurgens. It's going to be Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean. They really got to start hitting on these young players. They got to get them involved because they're going to lose some people. You're right, Bob. And they've already started losing some people, coaches, Shane Steichen, Jonathan Gannon. We've been through this before with Doug Peterson. Not to this level. This is the first time since '94 that a team that went to the Super Bowl lost both of its coordinators. How big is that blow for the Eagles?
Yeah, I mean that disturbs that continuity that they had, and having the same coaching staff intact for 2 years, that's huge for especially the young guys. And one thing that Nick Sirianni has done a great job of, in my opinion, is developing these young guys. You mentioned Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis was coming along, and then all of a sudden they brought two veterans in, and his playing snaps diminished. I still would have wanted a lot more out of him, especially I would have loved to have seen him step up in the Super Bowl. But Nakobe Dean's kind of that. He could be that next leader, but he didn't get a lot of snaps either. So
no.
And I
By
still
the way,
don't think
your favorite Pro Football Focus best defensive player for the Eagles in the Super Bowl, Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis, yeah.
Jordan Davis, which kind of tells you the defense didn't play well.
Well, it kind of tells you about the stats too. Pro Football Focus.
No, they're right. The defense didn't play well. The defense didn't play well. The stars didn't play well. The Reddicks, the Grant.
He played a dozen snaps, right?
Yeah, the Slays, the Bradburys.
Well, you knew Andy Reid was going to have a plan with Wiley, to take care of Reddick. And I don't know if he didn't wear the right spikes or what, but the complaints about the field. I mean, I understand that, but it was the same way for both teams. And the quarterback said that Hurts. You bring the right spikes, you bring a bunch of spikes.
No, it's not an excuse, but
right.
That really affected Hassan Reddick because the Chiefs don't have a player like Hassan Reddick. So you're right when it boasts up, but it really affected Hassan.
Yeah, I don't know. That's like blaming the loss on a penalty, like some people did. Which is no better than what the 49ers did after they lost,
That's true. Get crushed. But the one thing you're leaving out, Bob, is the fact that the NFL knew it would have a more downside effect on the Eagles, and that's why the field was in the shape that it was in, because they wanted Patrick Mahomes to win because he needs to be the new poster boy and the face of the NFL. So the NFL specifically made sure the field was in as lousy condition as it was because somehow they knew it would have more dire effect on the Eagles than the Chiefs.
Yeah. Well, people do believe that.
I've gotten those calls.
But now,
as ridiculous as it sounds, as I say it, I've gotten people call me on WIP and say it and mean it, that it was predetermined, and that's why the field sucked as much as it did.
Well, you got the script in the preseason. This was a nice twist by the NFL. But now you get to take your bows, Bob Grotz, all year. You with James Bradbury. We overrated him. Biggest corner of the season.
He wasn't bad. He wasn't bad.
But see, I like it.
He got beat a lot, and he was a veteran. He wasn't covering the top receivers all the time either.
No, that's
you could see it right off the bat. John, I emailed you the video of him after the Lions game. If there was like 5, and hey, Ike Reese said, I don't know what to say about James Bradbury except he's not very fast, and he isn't. He can still play, obviously, but I don't know. I mean, what bothered me the most about what really bothered me about the Eagles and their defense in that game was that the motion, how disruptive a simple motion was for them.
Well, they don't use motion, so they never see it.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but 2 walk-in touchdowns, and on one of them, Bradbury took the inside guy. He didn't even know there was a receiver on his right, and there was nobody over there.
Yeah,
a safety probably should have been back there, but
miscommunication.
He didn't even know. I mean, hey, if that had been Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he would have been over there. He would have broken it off, and they might have got beat over the middle, but he would have broken it off and taken the guy at the edge. And by the way, of all the free agents that they have, to me, he's the one guy you definitely got to sign.
Chauncey,
yeah. This again, I'm going to get the ire of the streamers here on Birds 365. James Bradbury, I've heard you need to get Johnson Gardner done because he's younger. Bradbury, 29, he's already 30 years old. Rob Groat says he's slow as all get out, slow as molasses. Why would you worry about bringing him back? Are we worried at all that Darius Slay is 32?
Yeah.
Well, we're somehow worried about James Bradbury, and he's an old man at 29. Well, what the hell is Slay at 32, and how much money is he going to be making next year?
Yeah, no, that's a legitimate concern.
Yeah. And he didn't play as well in the second half of the season.
He didn't have a great year. He really didn't. And I don't, that is a legitimate concern, though. And you have some others, too. There's some fringe guys that are making around $2 million, some of them 1.5, and you could cut them for cap space. They may end up doing that, like Quez Watkins. I think he would get you another $1.5 million. What are they? They're like $2 million over the cap, right, John?
Yeah, but I mean, Quez is on this rookie deal. He's not going to help. I mean, you can bring him back, and if you find somebody better, you just cut him.
Yeah, he's a deep threat, but man, he just doesn't get it done. I'm not blaming the loss on him, but
he's got to make that play. He's got to make that play, and if he makes that play, the Eagles win the game. Yeah,
I don't know if he ever is going to make that play because I don't think he tracks the ball that well. So, but they have decisions like that to make. They're going to have to start nickel and diming.
I mean, I don't think they're bringing Miles back. I don't think they can bring Isaac Seumalo back. They got to make a decision on TJ Edwards. They got to make a decision on Bradbury's not going to be back. They got to make a decision on Marcus Epps, CJ. They got a lot of stuff Howie's got to get to, Bob.
Yeah, CJ's the biggie. And if Kelsey doesn't come back, that they can give some more money to Seumalo. So, but he's going to have to take a discount to stay. And will he do that? I'm not so sure about that.
All right, let me ask about a decision not going forward for next year, but one that was made on Sunday. And I was going to make a big deal out of it when I saw it on Sunday before the game started. And it turned out the way that they deployed their defense, and their defense didn't play well enough, it became a complete non-factor. But Josiah Scott, healthy scratch. We're only like 3 weeks removed from this guy being a starter because of Avonte Maddox being hurt. And he goes from being a starter to not even playing in the Super Bowl, and Josh Jobe and Zach Mack being up. Now, neither one of them played a snap on defense, so it becomes a non-factor and a non-story. But is there anything extra to read into that Josiah Scott, who, oh, by the way, he'll be referenced again this offseason because Eagles don't have their 6th-round draft pick because they traded it for Josiah Scott, a guy who was inactive on Super Bowl Sunday. What happened there? Either one of you two guys as to why he wasn't even active for the game on Sunday.
Well, they had some concerns about who was going to be the punt returner, and they had a numbers deal going there. Yeah. And he definitely would have helped them on special teams. I'm not saying that, Kadarius Toney, if Josiah had been active, Kadarius wouldn't have taken off on that 65-yard punt return. But he's a good special teams guy, too. So, I don't know.
Avonte's up. I mean, they weren't as concerned with Avonte being back. And, they had some
but Josh Jobe and Zach Mack, were we expecting an injury from either Bradbury or Slay that you were going to need one of those two guys to play outside corner?
No, but they're their top gunners, Zach and Josh Jobe on punt coverage. Now that didn't help, but those are their top gunners. So, I mean, that's why they're active. Um, yeah, it's just a numbers game, as far as Bob said. And with Avonte healthy, they didn't, or healthy-ish. You got to make tough decisions. Now, the tougher decision to me is why the hell is Aaron Cepas punting? He hasn't punted since December 11th.
That's
they
always
outthought themselves, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, Brett Kern isn't good, but the guy was hurt, and you're bringing him back in the Super Bowl just to have a feel-good moment because you like him and he's part of the team, and I get it. But it cost you. That's a low-key mistake, Bob Gretz.
Yeah, first punt in what, 5 weeks, something like that. I mean,
December 11th,
in competition.
So
in competition. So, I mean, that wasn't real bright. And they do overthink some things. Vic Fangio, that 2-week consultant job, that sure went well, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
by the way, he was helping the offense for people that don't know. He was helping the offense.
Let me ask both you guys about that. They brought in another coach who was a defensive coach during the deal. Yeah, to consult with the offense.
No, he was helping the defense.
Here's a unique idea. If a guy's a defensive coach, why don't you bring him in to talk about the defense? What's their slanted line of logic about let's bring in a defensive coach to advise our offense?
I can't believe he wouldn't be in there and give them his 2 cents on the defense too.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's in there. I think people overblow these things. They write reports. Basically, Marcus Brady was the Colts offensive coordinator. They brought him in to help the defense. Vic, they brought in to help the offense. Basically, they're asking the guys, well, if we do this, what do you do as a defensive coordinator? If you do this, if we do this defensively, what do you do as an offensive coordinator? That's what they do. I should give them credit for that.
And Vic, while you're here, what do we do? You played Kansas City 6 times. What do we do? Yeah, I'm sure that came up, John. I mean,
for God's
sakes.
Here's my issue with people putting too much on, whether it's Jonathan Gannon or Shane Steichen or whatever. Vic Fangio was going to tell, Slay and Bradbury and Maddox to communicate, just like Jonathan Gannon does. And if they don't, they're going to blow coverage. Vic can't fix that. Can't fix that in 2 stinking weeks. Communicate or don't communicate. You were taught the right way. At what point do you blame it on the players, Bob?
Hey, happy Sunday. He could have at least said happy Sunday or something like that.
Well, he had a happy.
So Jonathan Gannon wouldn't have had to. Hey, Jonathan Gannon is that team in Arizona. They're going to the Super Bowl, John.
Oh yeah.
He's going to take him. Kyler Murray, great quarterback. He's going to press all the right buttons in him, and guess what? It's going to be happy Super Bowl Sunday for that team.
What about Indy? You're not giving Shane credit.
I don't know who the Eagles. I still don't have a clue yet. Are they going to keep the 3-4? They got the personnel now. I mean,
they don't play a 3-4. Why do people? Man, you're driving me crazy.
They play it. They play the Fangio defense. There's a lot of 3-4.
It's a variable 40 and 50.
Whether they're standing up or there's 5 guys at times or not.
You're calling it a 3-4. It's more of a 5-2 than it is a 3-4.
Whatever it is, they got to learn. They got to bring somebody in that can stop the run. I mean, that's been a problem.
The whole thing is not designed to stop the run. That's the problem. Vic made that defense. He's the one who said, well, you give up a 5-yard run, but I don't want to give up the 40-yard pass play.
I'm sorry,
Blame Vic. He's the
happy Thursday, John.
He's the one who freaking unleashed it on us all.
And truth be told, and I know everybody wanted the Eagles to win, one thing that I actually did smile about when the game was over and done with was Andy Reid ran the football. Andy Reid for years, run the football. Why are you throwing the football? Andy Reid, that's all you know how to do is throw the football. Isaiah Pacheco was as much a key contributor in that game as Patrick Mahomes was. And that's Andy Reid just being a great offensive coordinator and play caller going, all right, light boxes, Johnny Mac likes to tell us, Gannon loves those light boxes. Well, light boxes gave Isaiah Pacheco 76 yards in the Super Bowl, a 7th-round draft pick out of Rutgers. Andy Reid running the football. I didn't think it was going to happen. You got to give the guy a ton of credit for that.
Yeah, he mixed them in perfectly, didn't he? And then they got as much as grief, or as much as I heard about that penalty, the holding penalty late in the game.
That was a penalty.
Why didn't they stop the quarterback on that 26-yard run before that? I mean,
longest play of the game.
There were so many plays in there. No, I think Hurts went 28, didn't he?
No, for Kansas City.
Okay, yeah.
Longest play of the game for long.
I mean, there were all kinds of opportunities to get a stop. I still can't. You can't get one stop in the second half of the biggest game. That's a huge deal. And people say, if they didn't call that defensive penalty, it would have been a stop. No, they would have got points anyway. And I just don't. I don't understand that. Except, there is something I do understand. The Eagles, in the second halves of games, they've tended to fade this year. Is that age? What is it? They have. I mean, you saw it in the opener, for crying out loud. Against teams that are competitive, they fade a little bit in the second half. So I don't know what that is. They get off good starts.
Might be some age.
Is it age? Yeah. I mean,
team. Well, I'll say this: the only difference between Super Bowl 52, when they gave up 500 yards passing.
Oh, that was amazing. Every time I watch that, John, I still can't believe they won the game.
I know. Super Bowl 52, Super Bowl 57. The only difference is they made one defensive play. If Brandon Graham makes one defensive play in this game, they win this game. Yeah. And we're all talking about, if I told you before the game, Bob, well, the Eagles are going to hold Patrick Mahomes to 182 passing yards. Longest pass play is going to be 22 yards. Would you have taken that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they didn't make a play. Got to get off the field. Could be a strip sack, could be an interception, could even be a 3-and-out with a pass defense. Just find a way to get off the field. I'm blaming the players.
They couldn't strip the ball out of 7th-round draft pick Isaiah Pacheco's hands. That's the punch that ball out, punch that ball. They never were able to punch the ball away from Pacheco. And you're right, John. The lack of that big play was a key in this game. All right, so Nick Sirianni's got work to do. Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni making decisions on the coaching staff's elevation, bringing guys in from elsewhere. We all gave Nick a ton of credit for the major growth in his game from year 1 to year 2. This is the first time he's ever had to deal with adding to his coaching staff. He was a big mover and shaker in putting the coaching staff together. They gave him much more latitude than they ever gave Doug Peterson. But why would we think Sirianni is going to be just the right guy to make the right calls about filling the voids in the coaching staff? Or
it doesn't matter who he gets. He's going to take him down to the shore. On the drive down there, they're going to stop at a bunch of Wawas. They're going to have something to eat, and then they'll stop by Howie's house. And that's the way that they connect. So it doesn't matter.
All about the connection, huh? About
growth. Right.
What are we doing? What are we doing this summer? That was a great
on the way down to
Howie.
the shore, by the way, they're going to yell at. They're going to have a little bit of road rage and yell at drivers, and all flip the
By the way, they can't. Nothing.
They're all going to. No, I mean, it's just a bonding thing,
Nothing against Wawa. I love Wawa. Yeah, they come on to be a sponsor, but I mean, come on, you're Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman. You can't have a better place to eat.
They are the same guy. They are the same guy.
Hoagie Fest is great. You're not bad mouth. No,
I want a sit down meal. If we're going to connect, I want a sit down meal. That's all I'm saying.
I think you can connect just as well with a hoagie in the car, locked in.
I can't see
heading down the AC Expressway. Come on, where's better bonding? I can't believe this. I'm with Groats on this one. He's exactly right.
I can't see Nick being a Wawa spokesman. I was thinking about that right now at this stage in his career. Maybe later.
Yeah. Nick could do anything at this point. By the way, when did Nick Sirianni become Sean McVay? Because everybody's hiring his coaches. He's the new Sean McVay. What the hell's going on here?
Which guys that worked on his staff have won any Super Bowls? Am I missing something here?
Who's Sean McVay?
Yeah.
No.
Have any of his guys gone on and done anything?
No.
What am I missing?
Well, Kevin O'Connell had a decent rookie year.
Yeah. Okay.
You're
Kevin
right.
O'Connell was,
but the joke was, if you had a cup of coffee with Sean McVay, you can get an interview. All of a sudden, that's the new Nick Sirianni. If you had a cup of coffee with him, I expect Bob Groats to get an interview next week.
Well, I see. I tell you, for Gannon, I was almost a little surprised. I mean, he wants to. That's how bad he wants to be a head coach. That's a tough situation. I don't know if that.
Well, if you're a defensive guy, you got to take a job, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, and the quarterback, wow, you need somebody that is going to be able to relate to that guy and push the right buttons. If he does that, that'll be incredible. I mean, that's a tough job. I don't know how you do it. If Cliff Kingsbury couldn't do it, well, I don't know how great of a coach he was.
At least you got the nice weather. Yeah. You got the mountains.
Yeah. But someone has to push the right buttons in that guy and motivate him because he's got all the talent in the world.
Well, everybody hates him in this town. He wants to get the hell out.
No. I was talking about the quarterback there, Kyler Murray.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's got all the talent. He's Hurts without the work ethic. You can tell he just doesn't work at it.
Yeah.
And Hurts is a natural when it comes to decisions in that.
This was my buddy Matt Verderam's suggestion the other night. Offensive coordinator in Arizona, Eric Bieniemy. Bring him in if he's telling Kyler Murray what to do and Murray's rolling his eyes going, hey, did I help Patrick Mahomes get 2 rings? How would you like a ring, buddy? Shut up and do what I tell you. So I think that would be.
By the way, Washington, the Washington Commanders are interviewing Eric Bieniemy as we speak to be their offensive coordinator.
So he's probably going elsewhere. All right, I got one more coaching question for you, Bob, before we let you run. We've already seen, or at least this is what he's saying as of right now. Shane Steichen says the head coach of the Colts, he plans on calling plays, not going to follow in the footsteps of Nick Sirianni as a CEO coach. Will Gannon do the same out there in Arizona? Will he also call the defensive alignments and signals during the game, or does he follow in the footsteps of his former coach and go, yeah, I can get somebody else to come in here and be my DC and call the plays so I can just oversee everything? Will he or won't he be a CEO coach, Gannon in Arizona?
I think he'll call the plays.
The non-CEO coach, John, they're not listening to you. Around the league, you're not getting the CEO coaches.
It's his first year, at least initially.
Nobody
they get things straightened out, bring a veteran guy in there. Yeah, I could see that happening, him giving that up.
Here's the last one. At Bob Groats on Twitter, Delco Times, read them there. To me, it's more interesting here because Nick Sirianni has said, if Shane leaves, I might take it back. Is Brian Johnson, because he's going to be the new OC, is he going to call the plays? Or is Nick going to say, you know what? I don't have the history with this guy I had with Shane Steichen. I got to bring it back. I got to call plays.
Yeah, I have thought about that too. I think Nick could probably do that. I think he could probably do it. I think he's learned how to balance things. He does have a rapport with all the rest of the coaches on the staff. I think it could work. I mean, I don't know if you want to mess with it. He's been really successful not calling these plays, but then he really, I mean, Steichen was just an excellent play caller.
Shane Steichen is a great play caller. The assumption and that's not going down is incorrect. I'm saying that right now.
There are guys that can do that. I mean, Steichen's going to call the plays for sure. We know that, but there are guys that can do that. Sean Payton could do it. Andy Reid can do it.
Yeah. Oh, Andy's tremendous.
He might have someone actually verbalize the play, but believe me, I mean, makes that little check on the sheet, bang, bang. He's calling them.
All right, the next several months, not hanging out with John McMullen or Ed Kratz or Martin Frank. How do you fill the void in your life, Bob?
You just made Bob's day. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just made his day. He doesn't have to deal with us.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Match.com, something like that.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Scroll right. There it is.
I heard
getting lucky.
I've heard that's the place to go. Yeah. There's no risk of anything. Yeah. I mean, low risk, high reward.
I'd update the profile picture and lose the hoodie if I were you.
Yeah.
That's just a suggestion from a good friend, Jody.
This is as good as it gets, Jody.
Thanks, one to know one, buddy. Right. Bob, always a pleasure, bud. We're going to be tapping into you all off season. Take a couple of weeks. Good luck on Match.com, and we'll get you back up here on Birds 365.
I'll see you guys. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Bob.
Bye.
Thanks, Bob.
The Dark Knight himself, Bob Grotz, here with us on Birds 365. All right, Jody Mac, Johnny Mac coming back. We still got a couple of minutes to put a bow on the show. Stay with us.